A triangle has sides of length n squared plus n plus 1, 2n plus 1, and n squared minus 1, where n is greater than 1. A. Explain why the side n squared plus n plus 1 must be the longest side of the triangle. If this side is the longest, what does it mean? It means that its length must be greater than the length of this side, and this length must be greater than the length of this side. And so we need to show that this is greater than this, and this is greater than this. Hence, we can explain that it's the longest side. And how to show that some value is greater or some expression is greater than another expression? It's useful to consider their difference. And if you show that this minus this is greater than 0, what does it mean? You can see that if you move it to the right, you can see that it's this is greater than this as required. So let's consider the first difference. So n squared plus n plus 1 minus, notice that it looks like this, and it becomes minus 2n minus 1, and 1 cancels, and you can see it becomes n squared minus n, which is n minus 1, and notice that n is greater than 1, it means that n is 2 or larger, so it's greater than 0 for n is greater than 1, hence n squared plus n plus 1 is greater than 2n plus 1. And similarly, n squared plus n plus 1 minus n squared minus 1, which is minus n squared plus 1, becomes what? N plus 2. It's clear that it's positive for n is greater than 1. And we write a conclusion, since n squared plus n plus 1 is greater than 2n plus 1, and n squared plus n plus 1 is greater than n squared minus 1, hence it's the largest side because it has the largest length. And B shows that the largest angle theta of the triangle is 120 degrees. Definitely the largest angle is opposite to the largest side, and it is given the lengths of 3 sides and angle and how to connect them using cosine rule. And it is cosine rule is given in terms of c squared is, and also it is solved for cosine, but it will be more useful to consider side squared is something, because we will need simplified them. So cosine rule, the cosine rule says that side squared, and we consider write the cosine rule for side n squared plus n plus 1, so n squared plus n plus 1 squared is equal to the sum of squares of two other sides. So the situation looks like this: largest these two sides, and theta is here. It looks like this. In terms of ABC, which are given data booklet, it looks like this: C, A, B. So sides squared is equal to the sum of squares of two other sides, so it's 2n plus 1 squared plus n squared minus 1 squared minus 2 times these sides, 2n plus 1 times n squared minus 1, and times cosine of the angle between them. And we need to show that theta is 120 and cosine of 120 is minus a half. So finally we should get that cosine is minus a half. So you can see that you should get something like this. Some expression is equal to minus 2 the same expression times cosine, and hence you can see that cosine is minus a half. So this must be equal the same as this. If you get something different, it means that there is a mistake. So we need to simplify it, and how to do that? You can see square, so you may multiply each by each, or you may consider formula a plus b squared. You may choose n squared plus n to be a and 1 to be b, or n squared to be a and plus 1 to be b. It doesn't matter, but we can see n squared minus 1 squared on the right hand side, and we can do the next to be more simpler. We can make n squared minus 1 as a or b on the left hand side here. How to do that? You can see that n squared, and we can subtract and add 1. It's 0, it's the same, and it looks like this. And you can see it can be represented as n squared minus 1 plus n plus 2 n squared. It's this. And we can consider it as a plus b squared. And hence we get the next n squared minus 1 squared plus 2ab, so 2n squared minus 1n plus 2 plus b squared n plus 2 squared is equal to 2n plus 1 squared plus n squared minus 1 squared minus 2n plus 1 n squared minus 1 cosine of theta. And you can see n squared plus 1 squared can be cancelled. And what about other terms? So we can expand it directly, multiplying each by each. So let's expand this. So it becomes n squared times n and times 2, so it's 2n cubed minus 2n plus 4n squared minus 4. Let's check because it's important. So n cubed and times 2 minus n times 2 plus 2n squared n times 2 4n squared minus 2 times 2, correct, plus n squared plus 4n plus 4 is equal to 4n squared plus 2ab, so it's 4n plus 1 and minus let's expand this. So it becomes what? Or actually we can let's keep this minus 2, and it becomes what? 2n cubed minus 2n plus n squared minus 1 and cosine theta. 2n cubed minus 2n plus n squared minus, and you remember what do we need? We need something is minus 2 times something cosine theta. And definitely we should move these terms to the left and simplify. So what about n cubed? It's just 2n cubed. Then let's consider n squared. 4n squared cancels, and plus n squared. 4n minus 2n, this minus 2n, minus 4 plus 4, and this plus 1 moves to the left, minus 1, is equal to negative 2n cubed minus 2n plus n squared minus 1 cosine. And you can see that cosine is this divided by -2 times this, but you can see that this is equal to this. So we get cosine is -1/2, and it implies that theta is 120 degrees as required. And that's all for this question.